So let's get started. Our first speaker for tonight is Faria Anzum. Faria is an accomplished senior product designer at Reliance AI and former product design lead at Canva. She's a tech enthusiast and AI ethic blogger, and also she has been working a lot on AI, the effects AI has been creating in design. In her talk, How Can You Extend Your Platform with Agentic Features?, Faria will explore how platforms can integrate AI agents to streamline workflows, generate ideas, automate routine tasks, and even trigger actions, all without constant manual intervention. This session is less about code and more about business opportunities and strategies for embedding AI agents into real-world products. Please join me in welcoming on stage Faria Anzum.
Awesome. Hello, everyone. Hello. One second. Whoa. Here I have my presentation. Cool. So, how to use agents to save your business money. And as you heard, I am not a technical person. I'm more of a product designer, product person who has no idea how to code. Cool. So in my talk, you will learn what agentic features actually are. I know it can be a buzzword, and I have been navigating this space since start of the year, and I feel like I have an idea now. You can see practical use cases for any product idea that you might have, or let's say you have already established product. I'll show you how you can integrate that into your product. And also I'll show you some examples of how I use agents in my day-to-day life. Cool. So you'll get value from my talk if you simply curious, you don't have any business, you have an idea, and I might inspire you to have your own business with AI, or you're considering to have your own business, or you already started your own business. Any of those three. So as I was saying, by now, agent is not a jargon, and you all somewhat know what agents are. But in case you don't, I will do a little recap. So agents are like digital co-workers who can think, plan, and act for you. So imagine you have a digital assistant, and it notices that your fridge is empty, then goes and checks your usual order list, and it adds the delivery time to your calendar, and even reminds you when they will arrive, all without you having to ask. How great is that? So the main difference between AI and an agentic AI is it can plan and act on your behalf, just like a human. So how does the agents work? There are all these core features that make an agent work. So it notices that your fridge is empty. Then it decides, so it figures out you probably need some of these missing items based on your usual shopping list. Then it acts, it orders the groceries online and books a delivery slot, and then it learns from your feedback. So let's say last time you didn't wanted almond milk, it just adjusts for future orders, no almond milk. And these are the core building blocks of agents. So it has a brain, so like LLMs like Gemini or any other GPTs. It has memory, so it recalls any short-term or long-term facts about you. So short-term could be when you're in a conversation, or long-term could be it knows from your previous conversation and it's deep down in its memory. Tools or APIs, so some pre-approved tools that you connected with it. It has a planning logic, so it knows the order of things it needs to do. So for instance, do this and then that in this order, wait for approval, then send the email. Don't send the email without getting approved. And then it has an orchestration framework, which is like a manager. So it basically makes all of this work together. So how to use agents to save your business money, or if you have a product idea. So the step one for this is to find the right opportunity. So think like where in your platform you or your user are repetitively doing the same thing over and over again. What are the boring or reactive tasks? So some examples here are like domain specific, for instance, like e-commerce. In e-commerce, you might be checking stock levels or manually setting discounts if something needs discount. But for you, with agents, now agents can look an eye. Agents can always keep an eye on your behalf. So for instance, like when it's time for sale or when it's time for restock, it's going to remind you. You don't need to be there all the time. Or like CRM or sales use case. Before you might have to like chase leads all the time. Now the agent can draft the message and send on your behalf. Or healthcare, for instance. Let's say like you have like some assistant who on your behalf like reminds others like the patients for appointments or checkups or follow-up care. Now the agent can do for you. Or for marketing, you might have to track how your advertisement is performing across like the websites or any billboards, and then copy the data across the tools, like so for instance like Facebook or Google Ad Manager, and then make a presentation out of it and see what's working or what's not to redo the campaign. And now the agent can do for you without you having to manually do all of that. Or if you don't have any idea, you can just ask Gemini, and it's going to tell you what to do. So think like where in your platform you are wasting human time, either your or your users. Well, then the step two is deciding what kind of agent you need. So the main jobs, these are like some common patterns across like the agents. Agents can do for you are they could be a watcher. So they keep an eye on things for you like stock levels, website traffic, or payments, and reminds you of things. They could be summarizer, which I assume that you use day to day, like Gemini or other GPTs. So it saves you from digging through long emails and chat threads or reports. So for instance, like you have like a customer support bot, and it tells you like these are all the top summary, these are top complaints from our customers today. So you don't have to manually go and dig anything. It could be a doer, so it takes action on your behalf. So for instance, like send a thank you email for all the new signups. You don't need to go and do it manually, it does it for you. Or it could be a coordinator. So it moves between and like it plugs different systems together. So for instance, like add them to, if like someone fills out a form, add them to a CRM and send intro email, then create a Slack alert. So these are all chaining that it can do. So then after that, like after step two, you need to figure out like how you bring that in your product. You could have all of them together. You could have either or. So the thing is, as a founder or as a product owner or someone with idea, you don't need to reinvent the stack all the time if you're building an agent. There are 3 different ways you could build an agent currently. One is you can do it natively. So you are an engineer, let's say, or you hire an engineer, and you want to make it very brand specific and have more tighter integration control. Maybe there are like some security compliances it needs to meet. That's when you build it natively in-house, but it could be costly and time-consuming. The second way you could do it is plug in tools like Relevance AI or Zapier, and that way you can have faster time to market. And this is like drag and drop, no code solution. You don't need to know how to code. You can just like visually wire up and make an agent, which I'll show you soon. So it's great for testing demand. So let's say like you just want to get something out there and just test your or validate your idea. You can have something like that. Or you can have a hybrid. So something like Relevance AI that does the heavy lifting for you. And then on top of that, you add your like own domain-specific logic. So let's apply all of that I showed you in real-life example. So let's say you're building a mental health platform. The thing is, you need to stay on top of people reaching out to you. All the people who are booking session, you need to do follow-ups. If there's someone who came up to your platform, signed up, but they never did anything, you're churning users. How do you stay on top of all those users? So the thing is, every unreplied messages or missed bookings or drop-offs will equal to lost revenue. So for instance, like if you are charging like $100 per session, you'll be losing if you lose like 3 bookings per day, that means you're losing $300 daily. So on month, that's like $9,000 gone. And on top of that, having a human admin to chase all of the users all the time, it's going to cost you like $200 plus a day if you need full time. And that's how much an agent can save you per month. So as a founder, how do you solve that with agent? So here's an example. Let's say you're in Relevance AI, and you click on Create an Agent. And there are different ways you can create an agent. In this case, I just added a prompt. So let's say, like I said, you are an agent connected to a Google Sheet called mental health signups. So what it's going to do, I have a Google Sheet that's connected with my Calendly platform, with my platform that has Calendly, which is a calendar integration plugged to it. Every time someone makes a booking, or every time someone signs up but never does a booking, it creates a log in Google Sheet. So what it's going to do is this is going to be connected with the Google Sheet where I have all the logs. And what it's going to do is every morning, it's going to scan for new signups or someone who booked to remind them of like rebooking. And yeah, it's gonna see like if there is like no interaction in like more than 5 days, it's going to remind them of the appointment or to take an appointment. Well, so in this case, I click invent, and it's inventing the agent for me. And this is how it looks like once it has invented the agent. So it gave a name to the agent, Maya, the mental health follow-up agent, and this is the rule that it's going to do. It came up with all the prompts. And as a second step, it's linking the tool. So I'm linking my Google Sheet to it. And these are all the data. This is an example of the logs that I have in Google Sheet. So what it does now, I don't have to manually write any email to anyone. So this is, as you can see, it runs the task on its own every day. And it sends the follow-up draft. Hi, Alex, I hope you're well. Just checking in to see how you're feeling. Whenever you're ready, you can book a session here. So I don't need to go and manually write any of those emails. The agent does it for me automatically and saves so much of my time. It runs on its own every day, say at 8 a.m. or something, whatever time you signed up. And it's connected to my Google Sheet. It's connected to my Gmail and also my Calendly. So this way, nobody slips through cracks, and the outreach feels consistent and on time, and you're not losing anyone. And saving money. So once you know, like, okay, how to add agents to your system, the next thing is it's just the first step. It's just the tip of the iceberg. To keep the users in your platform and for real adoption, you need to design for trust and adoption. What do I mean by that? You need to be really transparent. So if I, as a patient, got an email from an agent that is automatically sending the email to me, and I thought that, oh, this came from a human. But then later I realized, no, it was an agent actually. I'm going to lose trust from that platform. So if it's like the agent that's sending the email, you need to clearly say it's via agent. You need to make it very clear, either like in the towards the end of the email or somewhere else in the UI. And also, give users a clear off switch or override anything that the agent does. So how I use agents in my day-to-day life. So before, this is what I used to do. So I'm a product designer. I do user interviews. I want to understand like how users are using our platform. Before, every time someone signed up, it used to be in HubSpot. I used to go in HubSpot, check for recent signups. Then I used to manually find the users and send them email. So I had a list somewhere of all the emails. And then I used to email them one by one. Then if they scheduled the time with me for a booking, I had to take notes during the interview. And after that, I had to write a summary and action items of the user interviews or all the patterns that I saw across the interviews. But now I have an agent who does for me. So what I have done is like I have created an AI agent for me. And what it does is like it's connected with Calendly, which is the calendar software that I have. Then it's connected to email. And it's also connected to HubSpot. It's not showing here. But basically, now it just goes, the HubSpot basically tells my agent, oh, there is a new sign up. And they haven't used the platform in 5 days. Maybe do you want to reach out to them? So it sends the email to the user. I don't have to do anything. It knows my brand voice and knows what to send to the user. Then it sends the email, and the user can book via Calendly. And then once I have the user interview, it records the call from my Google Meet, and then it does a summary for me with all the action items and pain points the user had. I don't have to do any of that on my own anymore. So as you can see, it created an email. This is an example email that I'm sending to myself. But you can see like, hey, I hope you enjoy building with Relevance AI. This is what you could do. You can schedule a session here with me. So it's great. My agent just runs on its own every day, and it just does things for me, and I don't have to do anything. So quick recap. Agents are like digital coworkers who can think, plan, and act for you. And if you have a product idea, think how you can, or if you have one, think how you can bring agent in your product. Think of like all the repetitive tasks or boring tasks that you have to do every day, and maybe agent can be there for you. So the challenge I have for you is pick one repetitive task, any, that you can think of, and automate that with an AI agent. I want to end with this quote, and it says like, give a man a fish and you feed him for a day. But if you teach a man to fish, you feed him for a lifetime. But a machine that fishes for him, now he has time to write poetry. Yeah. So yeah, that's it. Thank you, everyone. That's me.
Thank you so much, Faria. I'm sure everybody has been very excited. So before we move forward, we would like to have a question-answer round. So Faria, is it okay if you'd like to come back and answer a few of our participants' questions? Because after your fabulous session, I'm sure they are juggling up with new ideas and curiosity. So yes, one of you raised a hand. So maybe we'll take up to from here first, okay? Yeah, there's a mic for you.
Okay, first of all, thank you for the presentation. It's really good for someone who, maybe for someone who have a mindset of a product, but from me personally, I'm just a student. Maybe I don't have that mindset for now.
Yeah.
My name is Gigi Ardiansyah. You can call me Gigi, and I'm study IT in UNSW. Like, what I want to ask is that, maybe it's not a product, but I have, let's say, as a student, we have a repetitive task.
Yeah.
We read we watch the recording. Yeah. We make a summary based on the recording of the lecture, and it's something like that, right, for the studies. But where do we draw the line of which we can do or use an agent? I mean, on the case of a study, we can really rely on the agent, right? Because we want to really know what are on the lecture itself, but based on maybe on the interview, something like that, do we can use that ethically using agent for that, or where we actually draw the line for that? Thank you.
Right. Thank you. So I think, Gigi, your question is, if you are studying, you need to take notes. It's different from when you're interviewing users, say, right? And I feel like it's still, in my opinion, I think it's still ethical if like the AI is there to summarize for you. But that doesn't mean that you don't go and look through the interviews on your own. So I feel like the agent is there to like save you a lot of time so that you can focus on what really matters. So let's say like you use the agent who does all the summary for you for some of the lectures that you had, right? And it gives you all the common patterns. And then what you could go and try is like do that on your own, like experiment, try to like do the summary yourself as a human and see like if it actually saves time. Maybe that's the first step. And the second step is if it does, and see like if the agent has been useful for you, maybe give it a try for a week for all the lectures. And see like if it brings up some common patterns maybe that you haven't noticed, because it might be time consuming to go through all of them one by one. Maybe you're spending like 30 hours. And the agent is making you even more powerful now. Like now, maybe you have all the common patterns and summary given to you by the agent in like, I don't know, in half an hour. So it saves you 30 hours. And then with those, maybe you can take it to next level. Oh, I have all the summary now. Now I can do something else. So so basically what I'm trying to say is like, coming back to your point, I feel like you should give agent a try. And maybe it will allow you to do something even more powerful that you haven't seen before. That's how I would think.
Thank you so much. We have another question.
I'm a big fan of your product and your ideas. So my question is about the security strategy, because your demo kind of shows that your agent can get access to some sensitive data. So how to make everything secure and to make sure the agent do good things for the customer, for the company itself. And another question is how to make sure your clients trust you, because your organization is not that big like Google. Without some strong brand, it's hard to get the clients to believe that they can give their data to your agent. So that's my question. But still, that's an amazing product.
Oh, I love it. That's a really great question. And I think that's something you should always be asking. Like, do you actually trust that product? Trust is very important. So thanks for asking that. So in our case, Relevance AI, we have a few enterprise platforms. And enterprise is our biggest consumer base. And enterprise, first and foremost, they care about data. And they want to make sure that everything that they're sending to your platform is safe and secure. They wouldn't spend a dime if it wasn't. So yes, there is because it's like a startup, it does have security issues. So every time there is an enterprise client comes in, they might have different demands depending on, I don't know, the size of their company. For instance, we're working with a enterprise company who have very restriction on the kind of data we have. It needs to be in AWS or something. So we make sure we work with them to close any loopholes that we have in the platform, if that makes sense. So to answer your question, yes, security is our first and foremost objective. We have a few certification on security, and it's getting better. Hopefully, it will get even better. But yes, always keep asking that question: is it secure? Am I giving the data to the? How is my data used? Yeah. So I can assure you that in this case, the data is secure. Yeah.
Thank you so much. We have another question. I think it will be the last one for the day.
First of all, thank you, Faria, for the wonderful presentation on Relevance AI. And I work for one of the credit rating agencies in Australia.
Wow.
And also, I have my business idea.
Yes.
So my question here is many of the like many of the companies here, even for startups and scale-ups, require data residency, right? And so basically the tenancy. If in Google we have tenancy where you can spawn the servers, do we have something in relevance? This is the first question. And the second question is, I am also sort of a user of Google platform, Google ecosystem, and Google also has something called agent space, in which it is collecting various agents, like from LangChain and other thing, into the platform to have a unified. Does relevance have an integration with Google in the agent space?
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for the question. For the security one, just to make sure I understand it correctly, what was the question on the security?
The question is, if I am spawning an agent in Relevance AI, will the data be processed in Australia? Or something, if I'm spawning in, so like it should not be going to any other country or something. So it has a data residency or data instance creation. That is my question.
To be honest, I have no idea. I should be knowing this. I'm a designer, but maybe like I can follow up and like I can send you. I'm sitting next to you. I'll tell you once I know. Maybe I'll email you. For the second one, the Google Agent Space and integration with Relevance AI. Currently, we don't have any integration with Google Agent Space, but we are integrating with more and more tools. It's very early at its phase, but we'll get there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I just have a good news for you all. We are taking 2 more questions. So let me know if you guys have any more questions. Yeah, we see one hand raised there.
Hi. So my question was more around the fact that we are using LLMs within your agents, and then what happens is they tend to have hallucinations in terms of your outputs, right? You cannot like trust it 100%. So is there anything which Relevance AI is looking into in terms of ensuring that the outputs are not hallucinated, or they are not like, are there any guide rails is the second question. For example, if I'm asking something which is sensitive, can Relevance AI detect that and ensure that you're not responding back with the answers for those?
Yeah, that's a really good question, actually. This is what I understood with my product design brain, is these LLMs that Relevance AI is using, they're kind of like plugins, right? And we don't have any control over the LLMs. So like Gemini or ChatGPT, they would have like, so OpenAI, Anthropic, Google, they would have control over like how the LLMs give output, or how well they're getting better, like how they're getting better with hallucinations. So with that note, like we don't have any control over that, but what we do give is like the human can go and audit all the errors or like logs. So for instance, like for my email, which sends email to like the customers, I regularly go and monitor. I have like a dashboard where I see all the failed tasks, or see like how it's performing. Maybe it's reaching out to like a lot of users and many of them are not replying back. Maybe I can go and check, did it do something wrong? I can like go and monitor. So at least like it gives human the control to like check the audit logs. But yeah, it's more up to like the LLM providers. Yeah.
Yes, we have one more question.
Hi, this is Sanjay here. I have 2 questions. First is, we can create AI agents, right?
Yeah.
We can use Gemini, Claude,
Yeah.
or ChatGPT just using as a wrapper. How do we differentiate if you are a startup? Second question is the problem, what do you talk about, hallucination? What about the context and memory? How can we be like, different from any other age? Anybody can write, say, okay, you are this, do this. So how are you different? How can you differentiate?
Yeah, so just for the first question, sorry, I didn't quite get that part. The first one, can you?
First one is like, how do you differentiate, like if you have an idea, you want to create a, let's say, sales or a marketing AI agent, there are wrappers, right? You can build from ChatGPT or Gemini, Claude. So how do you differentiate, I build or my friend builds or anybody builds? How can you differentiate between those AI models?
Yeah.
Thank you.
So this is my honest answer. And I think it's the user experience. Like Base 44, which is a company, it was vibe coded by a guy who didn't know how to code. And I mean, he had some idea of how to code, I guess. But now he sold base 44 to Wix for $88 million. And there are so many other vibe-coded examples that you can find in the market, and they're like millionaires now. And I think what makes, for instance, in this case, base 44 different is the user experience and the branding. Because for me, it feels like a Claude or any other product where you can go and ask it to make a website for me, and it does it for you. But it's all the user. What makes it different is like the user experience. Or for instance, Lovable, right? I don't know if you know Lovable, where you can go and ask it to give it a prompt, make a website for me, and it does for you. Before Lovable, there was Bolt. And Bolt, what made Lovable stand out from Bolt was the user experience. It's basically doing the same thing. It's just generating the website or any other product UI for you. But only thing is the user experience is so good. I challenge you to go and try Bolt versus Lovable. You'll see the difference. So yeah, to recap, I think it's what makes your idea stand out is the user experience. Maybe you could, for instance, base 44 now also, or Manush, for instance, it allows you to create website or a presentation or a video, all of that just from a prompt. And you can say, oh, Canva can do that, but they did it a bit better. So yeah, I think if you have an idea, just think everything that exists and how you can make it slightly better user experience. And for your second question, in Relevance AI's case, it has memory, so you can download your own, you can give it your own memory, or it can always sync the memory from if you have it stored somewhere, let's say in Google Drive, it syncs there, or you can feed your own knowledge and context. Where in ChatGPT or for a normal GPT, it might be different. So yeah, you can manage and give your domain-specific memory and knowledge to it, and give it tons and tons of data, and it will know where you're coming from. Hope that helps.
Thank you so much. We have the last question, guys, now.
Sorry. So I think you kind of answered my question, but I'd still ask.
Yeah.
As a product designer, what do you think a competitive edge comes from in AI? From having a really advanced model, or from having a really good user platform where even users without any technical knowledge can use the AI?
Yeah. I think for the first one, the model shouldn't be just one or the other, because you should provide all the models that exist. Claude, ChatGPT, Gemini, everything that exists, right? And yeah, it shouldn't be just one or the other, because there might be some users who prefer Claude's response, and maybe Claude does something better than Gemini, or Gemini definitely does something better than something else, right? So there is that. So you should be providing all of the LLMs that's available. And also different LLMs consume credits in different ways. So some users might be paying more or less for different models. So that you should be always flexible. And the second is how you differentiate. You should always make it super easier for anyone to interact with your platform. The philosophy that I have when I was back in Canva, and I always carry that with me, is even your grandma should be able to use the platform. Seriously, that's what made Canva successful. Don't make it complex. Even my mom, who doesn't know how to use properly any apps, she knows how to use Canva. She makes her own brochures, posters in Canva. So it's so easy to use. So I would be really how can you just test the interface with your grandma, and if she can use it, that's the best thing. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I'm sure everybody has picked up some fresh ideas on how AI agent can transform workflow and make product strategies a better way of working on. So before she leaves, I have a small token of love for her from us.
Oh,
It's from Gemini.
thank you.
Thank you so much again, Faria.